Hey, welcome and thank you for joining us. We are Revisiting the Mania, a WrestleMania rewatch podcast. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Maria. Carlos and I are going to break down WrestleMania 28. WrestleMania once in a lifetime. I'm going to give my thoughts, reactions, and opinions as a new fan to sports entertainment.
And I will be rewatching WrestleMania 28. Trying to remember the storylines, specific spots, things along those lines, and see if the matches we watched back in 2012 still hold up.
Yep.
And we'll make our recommendations on whether new fans like my wife Maria should watch them, or if you're an older fan like me. And our guest Wayne, Semi-Dry Chicken from Podcast Championship Wrestling, recommends that we revisit. So
Wayne,
thank
Hey
you
guys,
for joining
hey,
us.
thanks for having me back, man.
No
It's great
problem.
to be back.
is
Dude,
it
it's
trifecta?
I think this is his third time on our show. Three times.
Three time. I want to, maybe at one point I can become a five-time, get there.
We're at WrestleMania 28, so we're running out of manias to eventually go through.
What will we do next?
There are other bonus videos that we can put up there, since there are still some matches that my wife needs to view to round her wrestling tutelage and education around.
It's a good word. So, Wayne, tell us more about you. Tell us more about your podcast for those that have not heard and do not know how great you are.
Ah, man, come on, let's start with PCW, Podcast Championship Wrestling, where I started this show by myself, and just wanted to. All my intentions was to just bring other wrestling fans together. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't have really intentions on I must deliver journalist type news immediately that's happening. Like I understand those people out there who make a living like that. What culture does something like that, where it's Bleacher Report,
right?
Wade Keller podcast, all these other ones. Like the second wrestling news breaks, we gotta release an episode now. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not that type of person. I'm more of a laid back. That's why we normally cover predictions and a post show for just once a month for just the pay-per-view. Because let's face it, wrestling is going to be here, there, now, then, forever, right? So if I did a weekly episode covering Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, whatever, it would be exhausting. And the fact is I don't want people to get accustomed to something like that. And then that's now my life. But yeah, it's been a year, well over a year. And I brought Dre and Doyle on as guests sometimes, and they were just on so many times that one day I'm just like, it's been a year. Do you guys just want to be on full time? Commentary team, let's do a 3-man booth. Let's bring some people in, interview them. We'll always bring a guest on. If you're into wrestling, reach out to me. We'll bring you on the show. Let's just talk about wrestling. We're now doing open mics. So when we do feel like delivering what news there is or topics that are hot at the moment, we'll get together for an hour. So we're trying to get Carlos back on. Just for some of these open mics.
We're trying to get him back on. But, our toddler.
I get it. I totally understand. That's why, what's so great about open mic is anybody can come in anytime, and it's short and sweet, because our normal episodes are long. So
it's not like the 24/7 belt, right? You're not trying to.
No,
anytime, anywhere.
Any
Wayne, and the rest of the PCW crew are gonna podcast.
That's right. Yeah, and if you haven't listened to them, listen to them. I love listening to their audio, and it's a good listen. So with that, I can't wait to get into this WrestleMania, because there are a few people that are relevant now in 2024, which is just really strange how things are lining up.
Yeah, and we'll have to dive into a little bit more. Hopefully we don't go into too many tangents, but
that's our fave.
Yeah, I do get easily distracted. So let's get started here. So WrestleMania 28 Maria, where did this take place?
WrestleMania 28 took place on April 1st, April Fool's Day of 2012, at the Sun Life Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. What's interesting, and we'll talk about it later, maybe briefly, is that they had Flo Rida there as kind of just like a sign of the times. Was one of the groups for musical entertainment during this WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's actually the highest grossing pay-per-view event in wrestling history.
Oh.
Yep. So attendance was 78,363, and I can't wait to get into this first match because it's so short.
Well, before we get into this first match, we had seen that there was a dark match.
Oh yeah.
And we did not watch the dark match, but it had the Usos versus Primo and Epico.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to go ahead and get this picture because it's I always forget that the Usos started out like this.
Oh yes. Yeah.
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 And now
we've come a long ways, guys.
Yeah, they don't even have their long hair anymore.
No.
And they kind of have like these faux hawks and little like now they have the inner part or the sides kind of shaved.
Yeah.
And
I'm a fan of the Usos in all stages, so.
Yeah, so I figured technically not their WrestleMania debut, but we should acknowledge the Usos. They're trying to make it into WrestleMania, and if they had just been a little bit more popular, probably would have been celebrating here their 12th year in WrestleMania.
Wow.
With that, now we can get to the first match.
Well, now I'm curious. Do you think they'll be part of this WrestleMania?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are going to be part
we'll
of it?
go ahead and revisit that, or we'll go get into that at the end of the show when we'll do our not random, but our just collective of tidbits that we had from watching Raw and SmackDown.
Okay.
And try to make some predictions since we're not going to be doing a live show next week.
Why?
Because we'll be at WrestleMania.
All of us?
All three of us, and Doyle and Jay. And
yeah,
we'll be at WrestleMania 40.
Featured guests to be announced later.
Yeah.
We plan to have some lives for y'all that are listening or watching, so we're excited.
Yeah. So the first match we have here is Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, who is the World Heavyweight Champion. Mm-hmm. This match goes for 18 seconds. And now I believe we have talked more than this match actually lasted.
That's accurate.
So,
Wayne, what do you think about this first intro?
Okay, so what a shocker of an opening match. You know, like Daniel Bryan was hot on this heat of being this heel that he currently is. The Yes movement is still around, but it's, you know, now we got heel Daniel Bryan, you know, heel, but he's with AJ Lee. You know, this is before AJ Lee kind of broke out, I think, into like a singles wrestler and, you know, future wife of CM Punk. You know, it's crazy, like, to think that, you know, Daniel Bryan then later marries Brie Bella. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, watching that, I'm just like, holy crap, like, so much has changed since then. You know, Sheamus coming in hot, baby face. He's still pretty young in his career. Yeah, pasty Sheamus.
He's so hot, he's glowing.
He's almost blending into the background of his.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. 18 seconds. I was shocked that a world title match was treated like this. 18 seconds. It was a quick way to get just a title off somebody, like extremely quick for a world title. I didn't like it. Oh man, I was just like, really? Because as a fan, like, you know, I was a fan of Daniel Bryan. I got Daniel Bryan shirts in there. I was part of the Yes movement, like the rest of the damn world. So to see, like to pay the ticket to get the shirt, to be like, man, I want to see Daniel Bryan, our world heavyweight champion. I got front row seats. Like, I'm gonna like see Daniel Bryan, and then like or like maybe it's just Sheamus mark, but like, and then like 18 seconds, and it's just like, what? Wait, what?
Blink
And now you got the rest of the night now to be like sour about it, but yeah, it's awful that 18 seconds, but hopefully this never happens again. A title change, kind of made me sour on the world heavyweight title being treated as such. So,
and one more thing before, there's that good.
I forgot.
Is that a good luck kiss or a bad luck kiss now?
Well, I don't know, man. Daniel Bryan, the only man who has kissed AJ Lee, Nikki Bella, and Brie Bella.
What?
Like lucky man.
Brie.
So
Brie, what if he does?
Yeah. So and that was
What
before
about
he
you?
was with Brie.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I agree with Wayne. This is a very quick way for a title win. It's not a recommended match for me. For two wrestlers of this caliber, I thought we could have gone just a little bit longer. So I'd say pass. But again, if you blink a few times, you'll miss it anyway. So 18 seconds. What about you?
Yeah, as for me, I do not recommend that people go back and watch this, mainly because there are other matches in this card that get more time, way more time than this match. And it's the first match. So how do you go from where everyone else gets at least 15, 20 minutes match time? And you know what? Guess what? You guys are just going to go out there for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I know this was probably something that Vince wanted to do. I've been reading when I was doing the research that that first they did want someone else to win. I forget.
Who could it be?
It's Jericho. They wanted Jericho to win the Rumble, but the Sheets had gotten a hold of the plans. So Vince is like, you know what? Let's have Sheamus win it.
Wow.
So
I remember that. Yeah,
they let Sheamus win it, and then I guess they were like, well, we can't. Punk was hot. He was still riding the wave from that pipe bomb he had put out earlier in June of last year of 2011. So we're still riding that high. Vince is still trying to capitalize, and he's still kind of hot here with the crowd. And we'll get into that a little bit later when we get to that match. But it's still one of those things where I felt like Vince just didn't want to have Daniel Bryan as a champion anymore, and this was a way of also like cleaning up everything. Well, Sheamus, this is the new guy, he's hot, blah blah blah, and whatever.
Daniel Bryan, you're always a champion in my heart.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of him.
Let's be honest. Like after this, it's not like they threw Daniel Bryan into the mid cards. I mean, that man had several other title runs after heavyweight title runs. I mean, he's the type of guy who forced his way into WrestleMania for a world title shot. So don't worry, people. He's okay, and he ends up marrying Brie Bella. I think he's gonna be all right.
Yeah,
he's okay. That's true.
Yeah, losing 18 seconds, but.
And with that, we move on to the next match. Match number 2 on the card. Kane, the Big Red Machine versus Randy Orton.
So I know you're a fan of Kane. Were you rooting for him?
Me or Wayne?
You.
I am not a fan of Kane. But at this point in time, I was kind of like in the middle with Randy. Because like Randy's always going like, and which is good for him because he could just work whenever he wants with whoever he wants. He could flip to be the heel or he could flip to be the face. But this was kind of like middle of the road Randy, where he's like kind of like he's just like, I'm just doing me, and whoever they book me with, I'll go ahead and just be what they need me to be. So what about you, Maria?
Well, I mean, usually I'm rooting for Orton. I like his wrestling style, and Kane, the Undertaker's what is it?
Kayfabe brother.
His kayfabe brother. I don't mind him wrestling at all, but I thought this match was a little lackluster, and I was a little surprised because I expected more out of it. So this is actually not a recommended match for me. It was not one of my favorites of WrestleMania 28. What do you guys think?
Wayne?
It was just let's face it. Kane and Randy Orton, no matter who you put them with, they're gonna put on a decent match. They're two very safe guys. At this point, they're veterans at this point.
Right.
You're not dealing with a young Orton or a green Kane. You're dealing with the big red machine Kane. But yeah, two veterans in the ring. They got 11 minutes to put on a good show, and they did. They put on a decent match. Like I said, Orton played it safe. The only high spot they really had was a choke slam from the second rope. Randy was on the top, and that's how Kane finished him. Kane getting a win over Orton, though, that was something different. I understand per storyline and where they were situated, but at the end of the day, Kane beat Randy Orton at WrestleMania. These WrestleMania wins, they're always the first go-tos that we remember when it comes to people's win-loss records. It's like, oh yeah, that's the big one. That's the big one. So I was shocked that they gave Kane the win for this. I enjoyed it. Just a regular Kane and Orton match, I knew I wasn't going to be seeing top rope maneuvers and super flips and stuff. I was going to see two big guys, just duking it out. Kane's obviously like close to like 7 feet. I'm not like 6'10" or something like that. And Orton's a big guy himself. Like I'm 6'4". I think Orton's like 6'5", 6'6". So
very tall.
Yeah, very tall. So two big dudes in the ring. You're guaranteed to be satisfied. So either way.
So is this a recommended match for you then?
I mean, I'll recommend it only because if you're a fan of Kane or Orton, it's still a solid match. I didn't see botches. I didn't see any spots that were cringy. It was good. It was a good match of these guys in their prime. So
yeah.
What about you?
As for me, I do not recommend that anyone go back and rewatch this match. Like even seeing like the highlight reel that they give us again, just like reminded me and how much I did not care for this match.
Yeah, it wasn't a 5-star match,
Well, it's not about that, but the whole storyline around it really didn't help elevate anything from the match. Didn't help elevate any of the story of why this feud was happening. So just to see a little bit of the tail of the tape, they're kind of close to similar. I mean, Kane is a little bit hunched over, but there's Randy starting off kind of hot here.
Yes.
And then here's the first attempted choke slam that Randy manages to get out of when Kane is rallying back. And then Randy's also attempting his own rally. And this is one of the couple of times that he tries an RKO. We always got to show Randy doing his draping DDT because we are.
That was a good spot.
It's a good spot to be able to do it with a man of Kane's height.
That stature,
yeah. Tall guy. So Randy knows what he has to do when he's the face, but it seems like for this match they were just going through the steps and they're like they had nothing on the line. There's no titles or anything there, and they were just like, let's just go out there, like you said, we'll play it safe. We'll give these guys a good match, and it's like a match you would probably see like on a Raw or SmackDown on TV. Nothing special about it, and that's why I wouldn't recommend anyone go back or revisit or a newer fan.
I rallied and I actually rewatched this match to see if I would think any different of it after I watched it the first time. But I think Wayne called it right, like the right word. It was safe. I expected more out of these two. I really enjoy, seeing them wrestle. Fan of Randy, great stature, physique. He has a personality. But with all that, this is still not a recommended match for me. It was kind of dull. So it's a pass.
Yeah.
I was like, let me rewatch it. Does it get better? Is it better? No. It was just okay.
Yeah, because sometimes, because of how early we wake up, sometimes we're both fighting trying to get through this rewatch.
Trying to keep these papers open.
And then you're like,
yeah.
What did I miss, or was it good? And then you have to go back and rewatch it. So
the rewatch of the rewatch.
Yeah. So with this one, we had like a little vignette. There was a comedy bit where they had Santino with Mick Foley and this guy from the Deadliest Catch. I guess maybe it was just starting to premiere on the Discovery Channel. I've never watched it. Have you watched the Deadliest Catch?
No, Wayne, have you?
No, I catch maybe like bits and pieces of episodes, but I don't know, it's just not my thing. But I guess it was the pairing is on the same network that they were on, and I get it. They're promoting, so
yeah, and it made for a good like palate cleanser because you have this match that was probably like it didn't hit the way they were thinking. Usually you want to have like a cool down or like a palate cleanser match after something big. Like that's probably how they plotted it out, and it didn't happen. But it was great to see Mick Foley here, and then Santino, and they both bring out their props. Mr. Sacco makes an appearance. The Cobra makes an appearance for Santino. Yeah, and then we get the Hall of Famer coming in there, Ron Simmons, and he's milking it. He's also doing the Randy Orton milking his moment in the sun. And then finally we get his damn.
Let me tell you how that's such a good contract deal to have. Like your job is to occasionally show up to a Raw or a SmackDown or a pay-per-view, and all you gotta do is just walk up and just have the delivery, because it's the timing that he does it so well. He makes you wait, and then it's just damn. Like it's so good. This bit, I got my Mick Foley Santino moment at the Royal Rumble. I think it may have been the same year that they both were in the Rumble together, and they both pull out the Sacco and the Cobra, and they duked it out. This is, we always get, like you were right, dude, palate cleansers. It is good between matches. Honestly, dude, I like Santino. I love Santino. Anytime he's on, I'm always laughing. He's like what we have now, R-Truth, you know? So
somebody a little silly, a little funny. I'm like, it's nice. Can't be serious all the time. Or get people like evil stare downs. I told Carlos the last time we were watching Raw, I'm like, everyone's just looking at each other really angry.
It's that time of the year. Everybody's mad at each other going into WrestleMania.
I was like, how long can we do this for? Staring and staring back.
For like 8 more days. That's like something like that.
I can't wait to see it. So with that takes us to match 3.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes and the big show.
The biggest show.
Yeah, and this match goes for 5 minutes and 19 seconds.
For the WWE Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, that Cody Rhodes had at this moment. So, Wayne, why don't you start us off here? What did you think about this match?
Man, before adrenaline was in his soul, before he was the American Nightmare, before he made bad decisions to get tattoos on his neck and start a company called AEW, this man was the Intercontinental Champion. And not only was he the IC Champion, he brought back the classic white strap, beautiful gold title. I loved that version. Now, don't get me wrong. I was a fan of the other version before that, the kind of one that was in between. But when he brought that old school one back and he gave it the white strap, and it just works so well with his character. And this is not peak Cody Rhodes, people. Mm-hmm. We get a roller coaster ride of Cody Rhodes throughout his career with the dashing Cody Rhodes. And then we get the mask Cody Rhodes, and we get the Stardust, and we get the Legacy Cody Rhodes. I know I'm jumping all over the place here. We get the AEW Cody Rhodes, blonde hair Cody Rhodes. Now we have the Homelander Cody Rhodes. And now we have I got to finish my story again Cody Rhodes. But this Cody Rhodes I liked. I liked his Intercontinental title run. I really did enjoy it. He was a heel at this time, I believe.
Yes.
Big Show was the type of guy who's well known for in the business to like he's like a grilled cheese that has to be flipped all the time, and each side of that grilled cheese says face, heel, because one week he could be a face, the other week he could be a heel.
You've
Just
seen many
shows that
sides of the Big Show.
yeah, he's a calm giant, and then he'll just turn on you, and then he reminds you that like he's a goof at sometimes, but he's also, depending where he's ranges between 360 to 500-pound giant.
Sometimes he's a medium show.
Yeah, the medium show, the jacked 6-pack ab show. Now he's AEW show. So, but and then so ladies and gentlemen, Big Show beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So he went in a champion, and didn't leave a champion. But 5 minutes, it seems about right. Like Big Show's a big guy, like he gets winded. This man's not going to put on a 10-20 minute match, even though we got a like 11-minute match prior to this,
right,
with Kane and Orton. But unfortunately, you're just not going to get that with Big Show. You're not going to get that with Big Show. You're not going to get that with Great Khali. You're not going to get that with Omos. You didn't get that with Andre the Giant. Even it's hard to put those kind of long matches with guys that big to keep us entertained long enough. This is a good.
Did they entertain you? Was this a good match for you?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. Because I enjoyed seeing the nostalgia of a younger Cody Rhodes, because now, I'm looking at this completely different now, going into WrestleMania 40, watching WrestleMania 28, like, oh man, like younger Cody Rhodes, like Intercontinental, peak Cody Rhodes. So yeah, I enjoyed this for what it was, just the nostalgia fact of these two. But match was kind of slow, and let's face it, I didn't see Cody Rhodes coming out as a winner. He seemed like a little shit heel at the time. So
yeah.
What about you guys?
Well, I'm a fan of the Big Show. He's a beast, strong man, and like you said, we've seen many faces of the Big Show. I'm glad to see him wrestling, because we've seen him at some WrestleManias having some funky spots or having some celebrity matches, and those have always been not my favorite. So
I didn't want to think about him. No, I did.
So to see his wrestling showcased was good for me. I also enjoy seeing a young Cody Rhodes compared to the Cody Rhodes that we see today, that we all know and some love, or some love to hate. And I thought it was a good match, but overall it wasn't a recommended match for me, even though we had good spots. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the good spots, I like the spot here where Cody tries to do that over-the-top kind of dive at him, and the Big Show catches him. But not only does the Big Show catch him, but he throws him back in.
I'm going to catch you.
Yeah. Always showing some feats of strength with Big Show. There, he's always impressing you somehow, whether he kicks out and throws somebody halfway across the ring, or he does something like this.
Yeah, so they start off with the face. Cody's trying to avoid him, because he's been talking all this shit about the Big Show and how he chokes when it comes to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So they did the whole setup, like ring psychology wise, was there, but this match didn't complement the storyline that had go. Like just like the previous match where I was like Randy and Kane, they had a good match, but the storyline was not there. This was also but flip flopped. The storyline was there. You had Cody doing his best, like his good heel work and antagonizing the Big Show and kind of like making fun of him, like you're the Big Show and you've been here for so long.
Right.
But every time it's WrestleMania moment, they got you doing silly stuff like getting knocked out by Floyd Mayweather, wearing a sumo suit, things like that. So.
But he does that choke slam to secure the pin and the win.
Yeah.
Were you satisfied with the win?
Yeah, let's show them here. Yeah, I was satisfied with this. Yeah, but I think maybe like I don't know, like he's
It's a
sweaty.
big deal for
So
him.
He's sweaty.
yeah. So I don't know if those were actually tears or anything like that, but he's a sweaty
crying from
show.
the
He
side of his
really earned
face.
that title. That's
Hey,
sweat and tears
well,
all
I'm the
making him.
sweat show.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're all a sweaty show.
Yeah, but good for the Big Show. It's not one of those big major titles that he's had going
Yeah.
into WrestleMania, like in WrestleMania 20, where he
Right.
had the I believe it was this belt. He had the or no, it was the US Championship, the US title
Beautiful
he had,
belt.
and then he lost it to John Cena. And in WrestleMania 16, he was in that 4-way match for the WWE Championship with Mick Foley, Stone Cold, and The Rock. And then he was in that triple threat match with John Cena and Edge for the WWE title.
Yep.
He didn't win that one, but yeah, it's a good thing for the show finally to get some type of I guess recognition for all of his things.
He did Punch Roads too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, first comment here from our live stream from our longtime viewer and previous guest, Anthony Jones. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and The Rock are probably the only new wrestlers that are probably as good or better than their fathers.
Tony, you are correct. I agree with you.
I agree with you with Randy and The Rock, and I'm still kind of mixed on Cody.
What?
Well,
You're on the fence with Cody?
ask him again after WrestleMania 40.
Wow, that's right.
After
Yeah,
he finishes his story.
Well,
Yes.
he manages to finish the story.
Yeah,
we'll
we're
get into that one
Twinning
a
on
little
that
bit
opinion,
later.
though.
So, but yeah, I do not recommend that people go back and watch this match, whether you're a new fan or
But if you want to see
older
a young
fan.
Cody,
Yeah,
watch it.
because he's got the work. Like he's still figuring out, but he hasn't found his gimmick yet. So
I guess it's my caveat. If you want to watch young Cody, watch it. See him young, and then you'll get to see him
yeah, before
next
the neck
week at
tattoo.
WrestleMania 40.
With this, we go to the next match on the card. That is match number 4.
I heard this was your favorite match.
Kelly with Maria Menounos versus Eve Torres and Beth Phoenix. And this match goes for 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Maria?
It was the longest 6 minutes and 22 seconds.
What part of it did you not like? Was it this part where Maria is doing her best Rikishi impersonation?
For her also, she got makeup on her tush, so it looked like she had a streak on her white pants.
Yeah, that's probably a lesson for anyone who's watching that may want to be a wrestler. Do not wear any type of white clothing because as these jeans did, they kind of maybe picked up some lipstick or makeup and made it seem like you had an accident in your pants.
So those that know me and those that don't know me probably do not know that I am a huge fan of Maria Menounos. I used to watch her show when it was on. I like her. I just think she's like really sweet gal. But that said, this match was horrific. She was gassed during the match, and it was hard to watch. We've seen a celebrity last WrestleMania 27. We got to see Snooki doing flips across the stage. So I wanted to.
That actually was the most impressive thing I've seen any celebrity do until we got Bad Bunny and Logan Paul recently.
You know, so I was like, I really was excited to watch Maria Menounos. And also, I like to say her name in this match. I liked her wrestling gear, besides, you know, the unfortunate makeup incident that happened to her pants. But her wrestling was so terrible. She was just so like gassed from beginning to end of this match. So sorry, Maria. I'm like definitely a big fan of you, but this match was pretty tragic.
Yeah, but we did get some nice things here. We got Eve Torres, who eventually, this should have been like, if you were watching the event live, because the next match that follows is the Team Johnny versus Team Teddy, this should have been giving you like a little bit of a preview of what's going to happen in the next match, because Eve is doing her best to intimidate Maria Menounos in here.
We did see some good wrestling from the
trash
wrestlers
talking.
here.
Yeah, we'll get to that here. We got Eve's continuing to taunt Maria after she's trash talking, and then does that
very nice.
the backflip. But then you get some action for the other people who are wrestling here. One who is a very good worker here, but Beth Phoenix, she does a good job in taking those head scissors from Kelly Kelly.
And Beth Phoenix, she's who's spouse?
Yeah,
who's she married to?
She's married to Edge. So that's ends up being Edge's wife. Here she's doing I believe this is the Glam Slam. She looks like a American Gladiator.
She really does. She looks awesome.
You know, you were impressed with this press that she was doing on Maria Menounos. I'm sure Maria wasn't that wasn't that heavy on her
with the press.
But then we did get this kind of a combo roll up pin, like Kelly and Maria both push Beth Phoenix towards the ropes, and then Maria Menounos gets this roll up pin for 1, 2, 3
for the win. Yeah, that was pretty terrible. So,
but other than that, those were the little bit of highlights. Would I recommend anyone go watch this match? No.
Well, Carlos, I do have a comment.
Yes.
You and Kelly actually have a few things in common.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
I was going to say, I don't remember my name being Carlos.
I'm all ears. Let's hear it.
So besides enjoying wrestling, of course, she is a big fan of hockey.
Okay.
And she also was a gamer. She enjoyed playing Donkey Kong, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Kart, and Sonic the Hedgehog. So
I think that also means that she has something in common with the millions of kids that grew up around my age that probably played Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong.
I didn't really play them, so I don't know what I was doing, but none of that.
Mm-hmm. It might fall into Wayne might be into that category too.
Wayne, were you, or you're too young for that?
No, I mean, I played all types of video games. I mean, is there much of an age, limit on most video games? I don't think so. Super Mario, especially, is like a game you could play, when you're 10 and when you're 50.
That's true. Our kid is 4 and he's playing it right now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So you did not recommend this match?
Not a recommended match for me. We did see some good spots from the ladies. But again, it's definitely a pass.
Yeah,
if you want to see Maria Menounos gas during this entire match, like the entirety of it, please watch it.
Oh, there's another note. I think when I'm not sure if it's when Beth has her like kind of like in a headlock or something like that. I think maybe one of them is talking to Maria. You know how normally like during holds you're like trying to set up the next sequences of matches or of moves, and it looks like Maria is like laughing, or she's supposed to be in pain, and it looks like she's trying to fight off a smile. So that also tells me she was not prepared for this, and that was something I wanted to add before I forget it. And I'm like, oh, I should have said that. Forgot it. It's in my note.
Yeah.
But yeah, do not watch. Wayne, do you recommend anyone go back and watch this or new?
No, this is a bathroom break. The Santino McFoley thing was funnier and more interesting than this. The only thing this was is like really just eye candy. I mean, it's good looking women for all at WrestleMania. That's what we're getting here. We're not getting a really good, meaningful match. Every year, in some sort of capacity, they have to involve celebrities, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's a musician or a TV personality. I mean, from what I know of Maria, I think she works for Extra and E! News, and she's like a TV personality, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense, like that she's going to be gassed, she's going to be winded in a match like this, not have the stamina to go with an athlete, a professional athlete. I get it, but she looked great. She looked like she could be a diva. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the celebrities come in, they don't look like they would fit at all. It's like, yeah, I don't know if you fit the look. Like, I think what's his name? He played Green Arrow on the CW. Steve Amell. Steve Amell looks like a pretty fit, jacked guy, on Green Arrow. But when when you got to see him in person compared to a WWE superstar. He's very small. Like, he was just like, I was like, holy crap, like Cody Rhodes is bigger than him, like he's just a small guy, but because that's how TV shows kind of make these people look. But yeah, she looked like she would have just been another diva on the roster, and poor Beth Phoenix. This is, I mean, obviously the most talented one out of the group, right? And this is what she's doing. Hey, she's on the card though, right? I mean, you can't complain. You're on the card. You have a match at WrestleMania. That's important. I mean, so yeah, I was never okay. Ever since Kelly was around, since her ECW days, I've always, I had a little crush on her, but she was never like top tier wrestling. Even Torres at least had like a decent title run and an interesting love storyline with Zack Ryder.
Right.
So she was at least an interesting character who was on to a week-to-week basis. But I mean, what can I tell you about Kelly? She did strip poker in ECW with Balls Mahoney. I don't know what else I could really tell you about Kelly. Like, at Beth Phoenix, like, she becomes a multiple women's champion, and she comes back, becomes commentator for NXT for a while, does a few matches with her husband Edge. I mean, so she sticks around. So she definitely gets Hall of Fame worthy status at some point. But 6 minutes and 22 seconds that I could have used to go to the bathroom or, make a grilled cheese sandwich.
That's true.
And with that, another sweep of us not recommending the match in the first 5 matches of
this
WrestleMania.
One, that's next. I think we're going to flip the tables.
Yeah, so this one is the end of an era. Triple H versus The Undertaker, round 2, technically round 3 at WrestleMania. It's Hell in a Cell. And this match, it goes for 30 minutes and 47 seconds.
So what did you think about this match, Carlos?
I thought that it was not as good as the previous match that they had. Like Hell in a Cell. We've watched them, we've broke down the first one. Not the first one.
Well, Mick Foley.
Yeah, that was the Chamber. But we did see the Mick Foley one. So you've seen The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell. And now they've kind of condensed the ring a little bit more, or the fencing a little bit more in the ring. Whereas the one before in WrestleMania 27, I like those spots that they did more outside, where The Undertaker gets spine busted through an announce table. We had, the Triple H and Undertaker, ramming each other through the steel steps. We get a couple of things here, but it's fun to incorporate more of the outside and having them do Hell in a Cell. It's supposed to be like one of those, the ultimate, I guess, feud ender, you could say, storyline wise. And it did it, not only that, but it whatever, like the emotion and the toll it takes on people to take those bumps has, sometimes shortened careers, especially Mick Foley's career and his mobility. And they played it safe here. There wasn't like too many like crazy spots. Obviously, The Undertaker was like 47, I believe, when this match was happening.
Right.
And Hunter's 42.
Is this 20-0? Or is that 19-0?
This would he ends up he's going in 19-0. They do incorporate a little bit of, the sledgehammers and things along those lines, but we get one more thing that makes you think that Hunter's actually going to be able to stop the streak. We get the recent Hall of Famer HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, gets thrown into the mix as a special guest referee. So when I'm watching this back in 2012, I actually think that if this is happening, if this is the year, this is how it's gonna happen. That's me, Mark Carlos, hoping that HBK and Triple H can put an end to the streak.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very excited to see him, and also, who doesn't want to see Shawn back in the ring? We get this cool entrance from The Undertaker.
Were there druids?
No, there were not druids, but I actually found the entrance that I was talking about.
What?
It is from Survivor Series 2005.
I'm impressed.
Wayne, do you remember? I don't have this thing, but you'll have to Google it. So it's Kurt Angle in the ring. The druids come out. There's only two of them. They're holding torches, and there's just a casket. And then the casket gets propped up, and then they're shaking their head in the ring because they can't believe that the Undertaker's back. And then a bolt of lightning hits the casket, and then the casket's on fire.
Yep.
And then the Undertaker comes out.
I'm glad that you found it.
I found it. I was determined to actually do it this
We've been
time.
talking about this.
Yeah. I'll have to show it to you later, but I found it.
We thought it was a fabrication.
Yeah. I knew. I'm like, if it's not in the WrestleMania, but yeah. But this was a very good entrance here. And as I do recommend that if you're a fan of The Undertaker and Triple H, and for some reason you have not watched this match, or if you're wanting to go down watching WrestleManias, go ahead, do yourself a favor, watch this match. If you have yourself maybe around 30-40 minutes, because The Undertaker does milk his entrances at his age now, go out and watch this match. This match, even though it's not as good as the one as WrestleMania 27, it still shows you how people can still be entertaining and still progress a story, which at this time it's called the end of an era. And I was surprised. It's like the way this whole match ends, and they're over here going up the ramp and everything, and then they're all like hugging, and I thought this was it. I thought this was gonna be it, because I knew that the Undertaker was up there with age, but he ends up continuing to wrestle for like another, what is this, 27? I think he stops at 30. Technically stops at 38.
Yeah.
So he still has 10 more WrestleManias he's gonna go through.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But this was called the end of an era. I'm still trying to figure out what the end of an era is.
What era?
But
I would say like maybe guys that wrestled during the Attitude Era, maybe that wrestled with him, maybe like just like older guys. Like this is like guys that I've been working with for the past 20 years or so. I could understand that. Like Triple H has been around. Triple H he wasn't one of those guys who jumped ship to WCW. He stayed with the company. Shawn Michaels was the same way. He stayed with the company all through the Attitude Era, and Taker was with those guys riding with him. So that's the kind of vibe I got,
Okay.
That makes sense.
What about you?
Well, let me tell you, if you've been waiting and you've been watching WrestleMania 28 and you're like, when am I going to get a good match with great wrestlers, with great wrestling, then this is a match for you. I love, you guys didn't talk about it, Triple H's introduction. His intro was awesome. He came in he's not always my favorite, so I will say that his introduction was awesome. This match was awesome. I cannot recommend this match more to you. I hope you watch it. Entertaining at 30 minutes. My only thing was that Heartbreak Kid didn't have a better outfit. That's the only thing.
Did you want him to go back? There's one match that Shawn is a special guest referee.
I'm like,
where he has like a midriff shirt.
No, if Shawn Michaels is a special
Judgment Day
is a guest referee in any situation, let's get him amazing referee clothing. Let's add some like sparkle to it. I don't know. Let it be fitting. Add some flair to it. Get him some cool shoes. This guy looked like he worked at Foot Locker. I'm like, who is this guy? We know who Shawn Michaels is.
He's a very modest man.
No, he's not.
He's already found Christ at this point.
I was like, what is happening? That's my only complaint, is that he should have had some like awesome referee gear. But otherwise, I like this match. I like the ending. I like that, we know HBK is good friends with Triple H. We know he's good friends with Undertaker and has that history. I enjoyed watching them wrestle. I cannot say enough good things about this match. It's one of my favorites of this WrestleMania 28. So do yourself a favor and watch it. That's what I got.
Wayne, are you making a clean sweep here, or what do you got?
Dude, absolutely. Talk about three legends, putting three Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers right here. I would say like WrestleMania 23 when Taker faced Batista is kind of like when I felt like the motions were really going, like his streak was really starting to like be in threat. That's when I thought like, okay, like we've had Big Show and A-Train, we've had Mark Henry, we've had Kane before, we've had Big Boss Man, Ric Flair. Like I'm ready for like a legit threat to his reign, his streak at WrestleMania. And after Batista, we got Edge. I thought Edge would have been pretty damn close, but then we got 2 years. I mean, there was a time where I guess the three of these men sat in a room and it's like, listen, for the next 4 years, we are going to work together at WrestleMania. Like it's, I don't know if that's how it was booked, but like the story was so good. Like that, like he just has to work with these these two other guys for the next 4 years. And like honestly, like some of the promos were short. There was a time where Taker came out. This year when after Triple H lost, the previous year, Taker came out, Triple H came out, no words were exchanged. It was just a face-to-face, they just looked. They didn't do the whole, let's point to the WrestleMania sign. There was none of that. There was just no promo, no mics, just stare at each other. Two men who understood each other, what they wanted, what was on the line. We all got it. We all got it. That's how well these guys tell a story. And we got the previous years, we got Shawn Michaels and Taker giving match of the year back to back. I always go back to like when people ask me about Shawn Michael matches, I'm like the best ones, honestly, go back and watch him and Taker. Like especially when it was Michael's last match. Yeah. Yes. But the Taker versus the streak versus the career will always have a special place in my heart because we saw previously, Michaels take out Ric Flair made him retire at WrestleMania, in WWE, retired in WWE. I gotta be like very specific with that, because he's like the guy is old as dust and he still gets in the ring,
right?
But so Triple H, the only man to go three times against Taker and still not do it. But they found a way to keep us interested. Like, who would want to see? I don't know. Mark Henry get 3 shots at WrestleMania against Taker. I don't think that would have worked. Big Boss Man, 3 shots at WrestleMania. I don't think that would have worked. Kane did it twice. Shawn Michaels did it twice. But some of them you just can't do 3 times. And this second and third time around, it felt like a whole new feud than the first time Triple H and Undertaker went at it. And it's funny because there's no rubber matches. There's no like, Triple H won last year and this year we're going to do the rubber match. No, it's like Taker has always been at WrestleMania this impossible hill to climb. There's no brass ring to grab, but the imaginary one of defeating the streak. So 19-0, and now they're going to do it in a Hell in a Cell. Which, when I heard the Hell in a Cell was announced, right, I'm like, okay, this stadium is outside in Miami. So, we talked about earlier with Big Show sweating so much. Well, it was in Miami. It was hot. Not like what we're going to get here around the same time, beginning of April. We're going to probably be in the high 50s, low 60s, cloudy. I've been checking the weather.
Right?
Yeah.
6% chance rain. I think we're in the clear. But, WrestleMania Miami looked great. The stadium, the overshots of the stadium looked great when they would pan out. Right. Taker and Triple H, they all got the great pyro, the great entrances. Every year, those two, Triple H and Taker, always have really good WrestleMania entrances.
That's true.
Always. So to put these two in a Hell in a Cell, to be able to conceal and hide the Hell in a Cell in the middle of an open arena blew my mind. I don't know how they did it, but they found a way, and then inserting Shawn Michaels in there. The guys are retired. Like, Taker beat you the other year and he retired you. You're done. But to insert him, as a special guest referee was a brilliant idea. The friendship he has with Triple H, the history he has with the streak, not being able to beat it, like warning him, like, listen, like, I could beat the streak. How are you going to beat the streak? And we didn't talk about the super kick. Michaels vowed to, like, I'm going to call this right down the center, and he didn't. He couldn't. He just had to give him a little sweet chin music. The super kick into the pedigree to the pin, but the kick out and the emotion he had just,
yeah.
Like, what did I do? What did I just do? It would have been different if that was 3, but it was 2. So what did he do? Yeah, I love this match. Definitely like one of my favorite Triple H matches.
Right.
Definitely another great Taker match. Man, the sledgehammer, the addition of the Hell in a Cell, the steel steps, the chair shots. Oh my god.
I told Carlos was going to hit him like that with the chair. He wrecked him.
Yeah, dude, the chair shot, the chair bent. This is not the long-haired Undertaker. This is the MMA Chuck Liddell haircut Undertaker. He goes through different phases.
With that chair like he owed him money.
He did.
You said he did.
Yeah.
What else do you have for us? Let's see.
Yeah, it was a good celebration for when the Undertaker.
Dude, the pyro was great. And look, you see the cell just hidden, like, right behind the Titantron, above these big fake trees that they had that were, to hold up the structure. I would hate to be the person who had to sit behind those gigantic poles.
Well, you can actually see that people were not sitting there, right?
Yeah, it looks like most of those sections where people had seats, like, right behind the pole, were actually empty. So they were probably just walking around or maybe standing behind one of the rows in the back there so they could see the match. I probably would have been like, hey, what the hell? Like, this was not listed as an obstructed view.
Yeah, right. This massive pole. In some way, shape, or form, it was an obstruction. It was. And I feel like we're going to get it this year. WrestleMania 40. I know, but listen, it's outside. We're going to have it. Maybe not us specifically, but somebody there will have that issue.
In those diagonal seats.
It's not us.
Yeah. No, it shouldn't be us.
But watch this match. You won't be disappointed, and it's history in the making. So historical.
And with that, we are moving on to
a 12-man tag team match.
The next match. Yeah. Whoa. Team Johnny Laurinaitis versus Team Teddy. And this match, there's Teddy Long for you players. This match goes for 10 minutes and 32 seconds. It was for who was going to be named as the Raw and SmackDown general manager.
Were you Team Teddy or were you Team
Yeah,
Johnny?
I was Team Teddy primarily because I had seen his face for a very long time. Teddy Long was a referee, but before he was a referee, he was kind of like a mouthpiece, like a manager.
Okay.
But not in WWE. And then he transitioned from being a referee to like an on-screen personality. And during the early 2000s, Teddy Long, when he was the SmackDown general manager,
right?
If anyone had a problem with Teddy, he would be like, "All right, fine. You want your championship match?
Yep.
Well, guess what? You're gonna have to face the Undertaker."
What?
So it was like every night. He's like, "I'm gonna put you against the Undertaker." It was like his punishment to anybody.
That's your punishment.
You want to mess around with me? You're gonna have to face the Undertaker.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just fun to hear Teddy go out there.
I didn't think about it, but do we see what is it, Paul Ern?
We did not see Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer. There we go. Yeah. And with his urn.
Yeah, I think 2012.
Did they separate or why?
Well, Paul had already been retired here, but I'm not sure because he does pass, and I don't remember when he passes. But
he might be around. He might have already passed because
no, it's getting there. But it's March of 2013 when he does.
Oh yeah, it's like literally that following year because he wasn't there for the CM Punk feud. Wow. I remember that very much so.
And that's coming up next.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just towards the end of this. He comes back towards the end of this year because they need to start building that feud for the next WrestleMania that he's gonna be facing CM Punk. So yeah, we get in this match we have Jack Swagger, Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Mark Henry, and making his WrestleMania debut, Jennifer Hudson's husband, David Otunga.
Ex-husband
at the time. Yeah. Versus Team Teddy, Booker T, Kofi Kingston, Zack Ryder, Woo Woo Woo, The Great Khali, Santino, and R-Truth. So if you were watching this for the first time, just to let you know, this is basically Team Johnny is all the heels, all the bad guys, and Team Teddy is basically all the faces, all the good guys.
Who are you rooting for, face or heel?
I think on this one, I was a big fan of Booker T and Kofi Kingston and Santino, and I was a little bit of a fan of the Broski, Zack Ryder, just because I like saying "woo woo woo," you know it. What about you, Wayne?
Yeah, I mean, I see you got a picture of Teddy Long here.
Yeah,
he came out with both the Bella twins. They came out with both the Bella twins on one on each team. I do like team matchups like this. This is before we got Andre the Giant Battle Royal. We got big tag team match like this. It's not an elimination; it's just a first pin type style. I do like when they wear the shirts. It really shows like, okay, we are definitely Team Raw, Team SmackDown. If you get a little confused here, even though you got Great Khali with the red pants but the blue shirt,
he was on both sides. He was just waiting to see who won.
Yeah. In this match, you do got a lot of former world champions. In the future world champions, you got Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, young Drew McIntyre, clean shaven. Original brown hair, no shoe polish on the beard or dyed hair, shaven chest, young Drew McIntyre, not the Scottish psychopath. This is when he's the chosen one, Jack Swagger. This is, I think, before his world title run. Mark Henry before, or maybe this is after his, I think this is, I don't know. He does have a good world title run. We all know The Miz, peak
He's
mid
awesome.
this time. Awesome. Still here, to this day.
He's
And
magnificent.
their team captain, Johnny Ace, people power.
Yeah, we had team captain was Santino for the SmackDown brand.
Yeah. Team SmackDown. I was rooting for SmackDown. SmackDown had all the good guys. Booker T and Kofi. Right there, former world champions. Unfortunately, former world champion Great Khali.
Right.
R-Truth, a serious R-Truth, not much of a jokester that we have today. Very serious R-Truth, which is weird because him and The Miz, separate teams, and they are like future tag team partners, champions, and all that.
Right.
Santino Marella making another appearance on the WrestleMania card in some sort of fashion. Good for him. Man gets a match and he gets a segment with Mick Foley.
Third WrestleMania.
Yeah, this is like his third one.
And Zack Ryder. Like, what can I say about Zack Ryder? The man is with Chelsea Green. He's a very lucky man. He'd be even luckier if he would just come back to WWE. Talk about a guy they kind of misused when he was at his peak. Yeah, and then I understand the Bellas. Okay, we got two twins divided. One's on Raw, one's on SmackDown. But did we really need to let's bring out Oksana? Terrible. Oksana was just a terrible character. She was just a fart in the wind. Nobody will remember. Yeah, she was just a fart in the wind. Nobody's going to remember her
Oksana
here in this company. Yeah, I had to think for a second, who the heck was she? And oh yeah, she was a girl who was like, I love WWE.
So that's we have a lot of people wrestling, and we have a lot of favorites. Faces, heels. Did you enjoy this match? Did you think it was good?
No, even with all this star power, they took up 10 minutes of my time. Wow. And I get it. This is the palate cleanser match, right? This is the
you needed the cool down after the big emotional match we just had.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And this was definitely a cool down because I could have gone to the bathroom not caring who won. Just tell me when I get back. It's just okay for general manager status. Did we really need to do teams? But whatever. Get everybody on the card. People get a paycheck. We get to see Santino. We get to see a bunch of spots.
Right.
Cool. And we get to see Hornswoggle and Great Khali stand.
Yeah, we do get to see a little tope from Hornswoggle here.
The tadpole splash.
Yeah.
And then we get to see this. Eventually, Eve Torres gets inserted into this match. This is after the match, but Team SmackDown loses because Eve is in the ring while Zack Ryder is trying to do his woo move in the corner, and the ref is distracted by Eve being in the ring. He tells her to get out, but Team SmackDown loses. So John Laurinaitis is at this moment the SmackDown and Raw general manager. But, this is what I was alluding to when Eve was already in the heel spot in that tag team match. Yeah, so
the heel wearing the heel.
Yeah.
So is this a recommended match?
I do not recommend anyone watch this match. But if you want to watch this for your own education, if you want to kind of show, excuse me, I'm trying to word this and I'm trying to find the right words. But if you're out there you want to become a writer, because WWE, AEW, all of these wrestling promotion needs writers. But if you want to have some education as far as how to make a match work, this match, even though it's not worth anything for a fan to rewatch or make a new fan, this podcast is for. But this match is nice. It's evenly paced. It has moments where it showcases each of the superstars in the match. And like I said, I showed, we have even Hornswoggle. He's not even in the actual match, but he has a spot there. So if you ever get yourself in the situation where you're writing for one of these promotions and you want to see what's the best way to get maybe 6-man tag, I believe this is, or way to work and not take up a lot of time, or it's evenly paced. Yeah, but as far as the common, regular, newer fan, no, don't watch this.
I would say that me, as a newer, common, regular fan, would say I recommend this one. I recommend
Oh,
this match.
go ahead.
I would definitely say watch it. You get to see a lot of wrestlers that are faves and fan faves wrestling. We've gone through the list. There's so many, even currently wrestling, and I enjoyed it. I like the concept of face versus heel. I'm here for it. The only thing that didn't age well, I think, was all that stuff going on about Laurinaitis.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, we're in 2024, so that's why this WrestleMania. Sorry to bring it up, but it's like a hot topic. One of the other weird things that's a hot topic of this. So we talked about 3 is one is Laurinaitis. 2, we see Diddy in this WrestleMania. He's another hot topic that's trending in 2024. And then the other one is The Rock, which we're going to see in WrestleMania 40. So this is just a weird WrestleMania with a lot of coincidences that with topics that happen to be relevant in 2024.
Let me tell you
Wait.
how I saw. I was like, I gotta say something. Let me tell you how when I was looking up like stuff for this pay-per-view just to jog the old memory, and I was like, oh wait, P. Diddy was there, and I saw a picture of P. Diddy and Vince together, and I just go to myself, oh boy, that didn't age well.
It aged like milk because
yeah,
like
yeah. Milk in a
all
fridge that has been unplugged. Yes,
all over the
not
past
very
few
well.
months, it's just like a really weird coincidence with
Yeah,
this WrestleMania
I mean,
40
it's
coming
great to like look at like a match like this because there's so many people, and you can look at it and be like, oh well, David Otunga, who I didn't bring up because he's not really worth it. You know, not really much comes of his wrestling career at all. But you know, what we think of guys like Dolph Ziggler, like Drew McIntyre, like obviously where he is today on the card, he has a world heavyweight title shot at WrestleMania 40. You know, people like Jack Swagger, that he's in a different company. Mark Henry's retired. Some of these people are long retired.
Right.
And some of these people are still here. Kofi is still here. The Miz is still here. But people, R-Truth still here.
Very
You know, but
popular.
we don't have Zack Ryder in the company anymore. We don't have Hornswoggle. We don't have the Bella Twins. We don't have Santino. We don't have Vicky Guerrero anymore. You know, and Booker T's retired. So it's cool to watch these kind of matches and look back on some of these wrestlers and be like, oh man, like this guy right here, like, you know, for example, like Daniel Bryan, we talked about, like this guy here, he has like so much good stuff coming his way, you know, like this guy has no idea. And what you said earlier, Carlos, Undertaker has like 10 more years. It's like, dude, like after this, we have CM Punk and Taker next year. And then like a whole slew of like so many other matches after that. So this just gets better and better. But unfortunately, there are the sour ones like Vince. P. Diddy was here. John Laurinaitis. We're gonna have those now, unfortunately. We're gonna have these like little
awkward
blotches
moments.
in awkward moments. You know, so but besides the nostalgia factor of this match of the people that were in it, it was nice to see like young Drew McIntyre and stuff. Yeah, as match wasn't for me. I'm still in the bathroom, so you know, I'm getting some food at the vending. You know,
and with nachos. This, we'll move on. We had the Hall of Fame induction of 2002. We had I'll had these in an order, but I'll have to change this just because one of them I'm going to talk a little bit more on. So we had Yokozuna go in there. So that's Yokozuna's kids. They were inducted in to the Hall of Fame, or Yokozuna was, because but the people who did the induction were the Usos, because Jimmy and Jay are the nephews.
That's pretty cool.
Of Yokozuna. We had Ron Simmons, Damn, go in there. Mike Tyson, Edge, just after he announced his retirement the previous year after that WrestleMania. Yeah, it's weird to see him all clean shaven and his haircut and things like that.
Yeah.
He had the Four Horsemen. So yeah, J.J. Dillon, that's the older man with the glasses, Ric Flair, Art Anderson. Sean was not in the Four Horsemen, but that's the picture I was able to find. Tully Blanchard on the left and Barry Windham right there. And then the reason why I got to this is this guy a little bit less. We have Mil Máscaras. Now, while I was doing the research on here, he was inducted by his nephew Alberto Del Rio. But Mil is one of these wrestlers that ended up transcending lucha style wrestling during his career. But he was the first masked luchador to ever wrestle in Madison Square Garden.
Oh.
And the reason for that was because there was a ban in New York about wearing masks in public. So Vince Sr. actually had to go to the New York Commission and fight to have Mil Máscaras go into his Madison Square Garden show. Now, I'm not sure how Vince Sr. managed to make that happen. Maybe some greasing of the palms and things along those lines.
Right.
But eventually, Vince Sr. was able to make the New York Athletic Commission reverse, or the New York City reverse their judgment, and Mil Máscaras was allowed to wrestle at Madison Square Garden. So that's because I had to speak a little bit more. He's the reason I left him for last, and I figured give him a little bit more and education.
What is Mil Máscaras? What is the translation?
1,000 masks.
1,000 masks?
Well, it probably would have been 1,000 faces or things.
Man of 1,000 faces?
Yeah, but
like Game of Thrones.
It's funny to think that Mike Tyson gets inducted, and this man's coming out of retirement to fight not Logan Paul, but Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of funny that we're doing this, that, Mike Tyson gets inducted in the Hall of Fame, but this year, Muhammad Ali gets inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, a lot of coincidences.
Right?
So,
boxers. So.
Another one.
Yeah. And with this, we're getting to one of those.
Like some weird chimes or something. For...
It's just the time is a big circle. Everything ends up being repeated after a while. Yep. And Chris Jericho versus CM Punk.
Your favorite
for the
match
WWE Heavyweight Championship.
Was it?
This was not my favorite match of the night, but I do not want to get into it here. I'll let you get into it.
You want me to get into CM Punk defeated Jericho by submission?
Spoiler? Yeah.
Spoiler if you haven't watched this.
Yeah, we already spoiled it for you.
If you haven't traveled back in time with us, I really enjoyed watching this match. I like CM Punk's gear. I'm a fan of Jericho as well. His gear is, I guess, matching CM Punk's because that's his thing as a heel. Match goes for 22 minutes and 23 seconds. And I'm rooting for CM Punk, Chicago made, cult of personality, championship material, the comic maven, all those things, chick magnet. I enjoyed watching this match. One thing I will say is that I thought this match went way too long.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I felt like this match could have been cut maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. And it probably would have been better. I also don't like that Jericho ended up submitting. Because it's not like CM Punk is known for his submission repertoire. So it's weird for that to actually happen, But it's a solid match. I'm not saying that it's a bad match. It did start off kind of slow, and like it seemed like the people weren't really into it, into the audience, after it kind of started picking up with a few spots that we have here, like when CM Punk looks like he's gonna go for his elbow. He kind of Jericho gets out, rolls out of the way, and then CM Punk changes position and ends up doing this diving clothesline here. And that was a cool spot. And then we eventually do get Jericho doing, CM Punk doing that Macho Man esque diving elbow. We got a lot of line salts in this match. This is one of them. We had one where Jericho gets kneed, and then I think in the second attempt, Jericho avoids the knees, and he ends up rolling into a Walls of Jericho. Which I don't like this version of the Walls of Jericho. There's more like the Boston Crab, but they still call it the Walls of Jericho. I couldn't find a picture of him actually doing it, but he actually did do the first time he debuted the Walls of Jericho, where he places like his knee on his head and like the small of his like the middle of his back.
You said he stops doing that move, right?
Yeah, but yeah, CM Punk wins via submission, and I did not enjoy that. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like you. I don't agree that I can recommend this match because it seems like it runs a little bit too long, and I did not like the finish. What about you, Wayne?
You know what? Two wrestlers that I love. You know, I got Jericho shirts. I got tons of CM Punk shirts in my room. So I was excited about this match coming in. Two guys who most of their careers based their tagline, their motto, their t-shirts, their entrances, their personalities off of I am the very best in the world at what I do in this ring. I'm a great technical wrestler, and that's what both of these guys are. They're both a little bit smaller guys. We're not talking about like Randy Orton size. We're not talking about like Kane size. We're not talking about jacked like The Rock. We're talking just normal, everyday guys, a little bit smaller, but still in great shape. I mean, these two are in their peak. I understand roughly around this time, CM Punk was dealing with injuries. I don't know if it's around this time, but I know at some point he deals with a lot of injuries towards the end of his WWE run. But yeah, he's hot off of the pipe bomb, you know, like he's hot off of beating John Cena for the WWE title. So it's cool to see him on this card. He's still WWE champion. He's into this 434-day reign before he gets defeated by The Rock at WrestleMania the next year. Yeah, that's where his career kind of dwindles down and the reason why he leaves. And I kind of see it for CM Punk after this WrestleMania. I kind of see how his character gets changed over the summer. And then as soon as the Rumble hits, you know, that's where his career kind of, you know, nothing bad. It's just that's where he was starting his exit towards the company.
Yeah, he didn't like the way his character was gonna be going, storyline wise. And he wanted to have one match with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they were not gonna give it to him.
Wow.
No. And you know, and you know, also being upset that like, hey, like I've been carrying this company on my back for 434 days, and then Dwayne The Rock comes in, you know, part-time Dwayne comes in at Royal Rumble season, takes the spotlight, takes the title that he didn't need the title, but takes the spotlight for WrestleMania. Yeah, it's funny how history repeats itself. You know, a decade later, we're still doing the same shtick, same stories. It seems like. I agree, Carlos. This match could have been shaved 4 or 5 minutes off. I still enjoy this match because I'm a fan of both, a bigger fan of CM Punk. Going into this, I know that their styles are very similar, being technical wrestler. I know these guys both had a lot to prove going, you know, not following the big tag match. We're talking following Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Taker. Trying to follow that. And then like you're also setting the bar for the main event because you are the match before the main event.
Yeah, you can't go and have like a 5-star match because then what is how is that gonna leave it or set up the Rock and John Cena match?
Right.
Yeah, and Jericho and CM Punk, they both have a lot of submission moves in their arsenal, and they both have one go-to. You got the Walls of Jericho and you get the Atacon device. And you're right. The Walls of Jericho with the knee in the back hurts so much more. Ask my younger brother. Growing up, I'd put him in the Walls of Jericho and I'd stick my knee right in his back, just like submit. CM Punk, I love putting my brother in the Atacon device. I'd put him in and it's like, I'd be holding him, backyard wrestling with my friends. I'd always be doing, I like the Atacon device, it's weird. Even when you're an adult, you're like, even with your significant other, you're like, hey, let me show you a cool wrestling move. I'm going to put you in this hold. I'm 6'4" and Andrew's like 5'1", but she has yet to let me put her in a wrestling hold.
I'm gonna say you put your knee by my neck, we'll have a problem.
I was like, let me put you in an Atacon device to show you how it's done. It's like, or like a triangle choke.
But like, to the back, but
yeah. She's like, I would like to see her put me in a Walls of Jericho, yeah. But yeah, I rather enjoyed this match regardless of how long it was. Just to see two of the very best in the ring giving us what we want. I was fine actually with the tap out. Because then there's no clean pin. There's always that. Yeah, I tapped, but you know what? You never pinned me. You never got the 3 count. There's always that lingering for future feud, future match.
Well,
so
go ahead.
So is this a recommended match for you? It's a recommended match for me.
Yeah, Wayne, you recommend people go back and watch?
Absolutely. I totally recommend this one.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. The duration was a little lengthy, but they're 2 excellent wrestlers.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about real quick, like the heel work with Jericho talking about CM Punk's sister, talking about his parents, like getting real with it, and then throughout the entire match, calling that out, like during the match, about
because they had that stipulation that if CM Punk gets disqualified, he loses the belt.
Yeah, which was made that night. Like how that's how weird is that though? Like the stipulation changes the night of WrestleMania. Like who does that?
Right?
Oh, people power. Johnny, that's who does it. Yeah, jackass. Because I was like, really? You're gonna stack the odds against Punk to make me really think he's gonna lose the title? Because I believed it.
Right.
You sons of bitches, you're gonna do it. You're gonna screw him over. So no, that's not until next year. So
now I'm curious. With all this match wrapped up, we're about to talk about the main event.
Yeah. John Cena versus The Rock. Once in a lifetime.
This match also goes for 30 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yes, it does. Ooh.
Wow.
Mostly probably entrances, but yes.
Yeah, because before we get to that, I forgot I have pulled this up. We had some time killing in between this match because they were trying to give it a little bit of a buffer after the CM Punk one. And we got Brodus Clay out there telling everybody to call their mamas.
Yeah, that was weird.
But the Funkadactyls that we have here into the right or maybe the left, I think this is our stream is mirrored, so it might be to the left to the audience. We have making her WrestleMania debut, Naomi.
Are we going to see her in WrestleMania 40?
We are going to see her at WrestleMania 40, and we'll get to that a little bit later as we'll wrap up here with our wrestling.
I always thought she was a stronger wrestler out of that tag team.
Yeah, she definitely was, but it was fun to see Naomi out there.
I love you, Mama. Yeah, I'll be back. I'm on Revisting the Mania, Mama.
Yeah.
Of course I call you. I had to call my mama. All right, I love you too.
Yes. Wayne did like one of the audience members that they zoomed in on who got out his phone and called his mama. And then all the mamas came out and went dancing with Brodus Clay and the Funkadactyls.
Now it's weird to say that one of those 3 becomes a bigger star. One of these is not like the other, especially when it came to the two girls. I was never a fan of Cameron as a wrestler, as a personality. Like, I remember like her on, I think she was on Tough Enough with Stone Cold, and she just had no knowledge of the company, of the business. It showed she had no passion, no love. She was awful in the ring, and they tried pairing her up here, and that's her peak. The dancing, that's her peak, and that's where it stayed. Naomi, on the other hand, that girl went on to be like, "Hey, I can wrestle. Like, I don't have to dance like this. I don't have to dance like an idiot. No, you can wrestle," and she did. She became a hell of a good wrestler. She became a WWE champion or women's champion. She had her own glowing title. Nobody else has had a glowing title. Her new theme music, a gimmick that worked for her. She married Jimmy Uso. She's part of the bloodline now. She went to Impact Wrestling, became an even bigger star, like women's tag team champion. Like, that girl went somewhere. The girl who's dancing around there, she went somewhere. So
right.
Yeah.
Funkasaurus, not so much.
Yeah. But we did get a great match here. We had a face-off with The Rock and John Cena. We had the audience pretty much very active for this match. There was lots of Cena sucks chants and let's go Cena chants. So the crowd was very into this match. Kind of started off a little bit slow with some arm drags and a little bit test of powers of them pushing each other into the turnbuckles and things like that. And then we had like kind of like you could do this move going back and forth, and I could do that move. We had I think The Rock was doing clotheslines, and then the Cena came back and started doing the shoulder blocks. We get to this very controversial spot here where John Cena does his leg drop from the very top rope. And if we did our research correctly, this particular move is where The Rock says that he tears his hamstring.
Yeah.
So he continued to wrestle about, I think it's either 15 or 17 more minutes after this spot in this match. So, and he gives us a lot of things here. He sells the hell out of this STFU. When they zoom in on him, his eyes are kind of rolling in the back of his head. And then we do something that I've missed greatly over the years is the arm drop test, because not a lot of people continue to do that arm drop test. So I think that's very crucial, like in the match psychology, because it kind of, we've been accustomed to that, whether we're older fans or maybe even newer fans that might have been watching this with our kids or family members. Well, we've been watching matches with an arm drop test when you're like, lift up his arm, which drop once, lift it up again, drop twice. Oh no, if he drops one more time, he's gonna lose. And then that arm comes up like The Rock has it right there, and he starts shaking it. And if you've been watching it a little bit old, like a little bit longer, you would have been used to the Hulk Hogan hulking up part at that point. But yeah, we also got a 5-knuckle shuffle. And we got a rare splash from The Rock, but this ended up going into a John Cena like reversal into an AA. And then we got the finale where John Cena gets a near fall and he's like, what else can I do? And he just decides that he's going to do his own people's elbow. The Rock just automatically gets up, gives him the rock bottom, and The Rock wins to a very thunderous applause. It seemed like those John Cena fans were no longer in the audience. It was all, you ever see that one meme where someone's watching like a soccer game in a bar, and then all of a sudden everyone just cheers? That's what that moment felt like, where it was just cheering for The Rock. Like, but I thought that it was, a lot of people might not have liked it as far as like in the moment, because like you had pointed out, Wayne, like this is part-time Rock. He's been doing the movies, he's been doing this, and he hasn't been this. I think this is his first WrestleMania like in 8 years.
Yeah,
when he returned. So to have it actually come back and not only beat your current face of the company, John Cena, but to do it, like you mentioned from the previous match, in a clean win fashion, not like any type of like cheating or ref bumps or anything like that. And to have it a clean win was very, very shocking. But it seems like that's what everyone wanted, because at this point everyone had enough of John Cena. So The Rock was pretty much like a savior, and this is a recommended match for me just because of all the things as far as the match psychology part of it. The Rock still continuing to wrestle after tearing his hamstring and still being able to entertain us as far as that is concerned. And it pretty much showed, like, even though the audience was still very vocal and wanting John Cena and cheering for John Cena, at the end of the day, when The Rock won, that was it. Everybody was on board and they're like, let's go.
Wayne, what do you think about this match? I'm curious.
Man, this match was great. This is another one very similar to Triple H and Taker and Michaels, where it's like The Rock and Cena just got in a room and it's like, listen, for the next 3 years, we're going to be working together. Like, I'm going to get involved in your Miz match, you know? We waited a full year, which sucked, because it's like, I don't know, having to wait a full year for something. It drives me nuts. But we did it. They found a way to keep us interested in for 1 year. They found ways to. John Cena had other feuds throughout that year. Of course he did. But he would sprinkle in these little things towards The Rock, these little insults, these little promos. And then The Rock started showing up, and then that started happening. And then it started to build and build. You know, the promos were good, you know, talking about how, you know, John Cena would say to The Rock, like, hey, you know, it's called a promo. At least I don't have to write my promos on my wrist. You know, or The Rock talking about John Cena coming out with his green shirt, coming out with his purple shirt, coming out with his blue shirt, looking like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles walking around here. You know, they had so many lines. And John Cena, which this aged well for me. John Cena telling The Rock, like, you are part-time. You are never here. You went off to Hollywood. You went to go make movies. I stayed. I worked. Fast forward to now, John Cena's doing that. John Cena's at Hollywood making movies and stuff. And you know who held down the fort while he was out doing that and as the face of the company? Roman Reigns. You know, it's just that's how it is. Now, like, let's say, I don't know, we're doing Revisiting the Mania in a decade from now, right? We're going to talk about how the Roman Reigns is in Fast and the Furious 15. Right. You know? We're going to be talking about how that and I don't know, there's going to be somebody new and fresh, up and coming, that's going to be passing the torch. And that's how I felt this match kind of was. It's the passing of the torch. Like, The Rock was there during the Attitude Era. He was the face of the company, one of the faces of the company at that time. You know, and this is like the passing of the torch to John Cena. And not only did they find, it didn't happen. And that's the thing, is like, everybody expects John Cena to win. Just like last year, everybody expected Cody Rhodes to beat Roman Reigns on the first try, but it's not always going to be that way. You're not always going to get what you want. You're not going to always get the obvious, you know? So yeah, you're not always going to get what you want. And I was Team Rock. I don't have the shirt right now. A listener of the show, Dwayne Coleman, best friend, he has my Team Bring It Rock shirt. He's kind of borrowing it. He had to borrow it from the last wrestling event we went to, but yet I still haven't gotten it back. I told him I'll probably get it back. You know, it's been how many years now? I said, well, I'll probably get it back at like past WrestleMania 40, right? I'll wait for WrestleMania 41.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I was Team Rock at the time. Even though I was a John Cena fan, I was just like, going into this feud, I was Team Rock. The next year, I was more Team Cena. The story changed for me, you know, going in. And there was really no heel. There really wasn't. It was split for fans. Yes, there were times booing this person, cheering that person, but it very much was like these guys were both. We love both of these guys. We love both of them. They're delivering amazing promos, amazing work. And yeah, 30 minutes because let's face it, a lot of it was entrance, right? A lot of it was the pyro. I kind of wasn't surprised that The Rock tore his hamstring or tore something, because when you're going out of the ring for that long, this is something that your body's used to, bumping those ropes. Like I bet you probably formed some sort of a callus from bumping those ropes, right? Certain bumps you're taking, you're used to. When you take a bump, how fast you got to spring back up. You got to remember how to sell. You got to remember how to tell the story. But The Rock still all has it. He still has it, but the body just can't take. It comes to a point where it's like something's got to give, and unfortunately, it was his hamstring. And now we're talking like a decade later. I hope we don't get something similar this year because he's a lot older now,
right?
But it's crazy how much this feud will change in 1 year time. And it's also there's a car going by.
Didn't hear it.
I muted it just in time. It's crazy to think that this core group of The Rock and John Cena, the Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Taker, these five guys were able to pull together an idea of, let's book something with each other. It's some sort of fashion for WrestleMania for the next 3 or 4 years. And there is not many people on the card, on the roster, that you can pick to do that. And even today, like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, yeah, we can get that to work for about 2 years. But good luck trying to do that again next year. If Cody Rhodes loses this year at WrestleMania 40, good luck trying to finish that story next year, because we ain't buying that shit. He's lucky he's got it this year.
What I like is I was looking up companion watches for. Yeah. I like to look them up for the WrestleManias that we're watching to see if we can get some like good interviews. And those who are listening or watching, WWE actually has these like the best matches that we're just talking about for you to watch like the full match. So these matches are actually still relevant today. Wrestling fans are still talking about these best moments. This is definitely a recommended match for me. I like everything about the match, the wrestling. One, they're in good shape. Two, their personalities. If you're wrestling or like a mark like me watching their faces were like excellent, showing the pain, showing like all these different emotions throughout the match. They had me watching, and I was captivated by the whole match. We got to see a really good spots. There all these different good moves, but it's just a good match. It's one of my favorite matches this WrestleMania. People are still talking about it. It's still relevant. You have two goats that are wrestling. I can't say like much more than that because that's how good of a match this is. Who am I rooting for in this match? It's a hard one, right? Because I'm a big fan of The Rock and I'm a big fan of John Cena. I was actually rooting for John Cena during this match. But I was satisfied with The Rock winning too because I'm a big fan of him. So
how about Carlos? How about that iconic photo of Cena sitting on that ramp? Right. Like just sitting there, the pyro's going off, the music's going off, The Rock is sitting there, just raising the arm, but Cena's sitting there like, I had him. I had him. He got cocky at the end. He put on the armband, just he got too cocky, and it just shows experience. Right. Experience, and it shows. The next year it really shows. Cena kind of is like, I learned my lesson last year, and it fucking shows next year. And when you guys review that, I'm sure you'll bring that up. The way that ends it shows experience, and he learns something.
You talk about ring psychology. I'm like, this is just really good emotion and really good ring psychology to watch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're watching two wrestlers doing what they do. One loving wrestling too, and putting all that emotion in their faces and the wrestling on top of that. You talk about Cena's gear. I actually do like his gear, I guess, because it reminds me of Luigi's green. Well,
Yeah, I remember that shade of green.
I'm a fan of the green shade that he's wearing during this match.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a consensus then?
Yeah, it's one of the other consensus. Revisit. We recommend that you should revisit this match, whether you're a newer fan to wrestling or you are a longtime fan like Wayne and myself.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to find anywhere else that you're going to find Black Adam wrestle Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm. And with this, we get to the end of and since we are also on the road to WrestleMania, we've been doing some little Raw and SmackDown tidbits. So, Maria, do you have anything that you want to add of what the little bit you've been watching of Raw and SmackDown?
Nothing that sticks out to me right now. If you guys want to talk about it, you can catch me up.
Yeah. It's just we got more finalization of matches here. And some matches added. We are now currently at 12 matches for this WrestleMania. How night 1 and night 2 are set up, we've only know of 2 matches that are for sure set up for night 1. One being the tag team of The Rock and Roman versus Seth and Cody. And then night 2 would be Roman Reigns versus Cody, whether it'll be Bloodlines rule or whatever Cody stipulation makes, then that was set to be determined. The next match we have Io Sky versus Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all on agreement that Bailey's probably more than likely going to win. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. I think for this one, I'm still leaning on Rhea Ripley retaining this belt versus Becky. Becky is still, I think if anything, they still haven't finalized a newer contract extension for her. I'm not sure if it's probably done under wraps and no one's got to leak it out yet. But I think until this gets finalized, it's probably going to stay as Rhea retaining. And then I think Rhea breaking away from the bloodline, since it looks, not the bloodline, but Judgment Day, since it looks like that's going into split. We have the Intercontinental Championship of between Gunther and Sami Zayn. I'm still leaning that they're going to add Chad Gable into this match. I can't see him staying as a coach for Sami Zayn. So if it doesn't happen here, maybe Gable kind of interferes and then they prolong this into another match, probably into Backlash. The Undisputed Tag Team Championship is now determined. Now has been determined with the Judgment Day versus DIY, Awesome Truth, The New Day, New Catch Republic, and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Now, I'm thinking that this is probably a good way, depending on how the titles are set up, that you can get the title split back again. Because if they're picked up by 2 people and then they pull the strap down and 2 different people come down with those belts, and one is from Raw and one is for SmackDown, then we can have the belts on different brands again and not have to worry about this Undisputed Championship thing ever again. Then the United States match with Logan Paul and Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. I think if they don't give it to Randy, then I think Logan Paul's going to retain it. Like, I could see, like, there's an outside shot that he just retains it and continues to go on, because now we have the older talent and he's kind of like the newer talent. So you kind of had to solidify him a little bit of peace, and you have to give him like that milestone win. And what better way to give someone a milestone win than over 2 people? It's kind of like when Chris Jericho beat Stone Cold and The Rock in one day. it really didn't help him, but that was the whole point of him doing it, just to solidify him as a credible threat if he ever was to go on any time, but matches later on. We had the feud match, LA Knight versus AJ Styles. It's too early for me to make a type of like pick on this one. Think if I had to book this, I'll probably have to give it to LA Knight if I'm like, gun to the head type of thing.
Yeah.
But it'll probably end up continuing. I can see this going on for like another 2 or 3 more matches, depending on how this goes. And they have the brothers, Jimmy and Jay, so that match did get confirmed.
Brother to brother?
Yeah, this
brother
is the third brother. The third time a brother versus brother match is done at WrestleMania.
Again, the power of threes. How weird.
Yeah, so with this one, everyone keeps talking about that this is Cody's year. But I think this is going to be this match. What happens at this match, whoever wins is going to solidify the bond again, I'm thinking, with the brothers. And whatever it does here makes this, brings the brothers back together again, is going to benefit the bloodline. And which is why I think that Cody Rhodes still does not win. He does not still finish the story. And I could be wrong, and more majority of the time I am, but I think that's what happens, because as someone once said, there's always money in the chase. As long as people are still behind Cody and still want him to win, they're still gonna be there. Another match that recently got booked here is Rey Mysterio with Dragon Lee. He's back in the LWO after, for some reason, he was not, versus Dominic and Santos Escobar. This match, I believe, was probably going to be going to have Dragon Lee probably be Santos, and then they'll branch off and they'll have their own one-on-one match. And then we have another match, Jade Cargill with Bianca Belair and Naomi versus Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Dakota Kai. This match will probably go with Jade getting a win, probably over Asuka, so she gets a little bit of the rub for beating someone that's not only a tag champion right now, but someone who's been an NXT champion and undefeated for a long time, things like that. And another match that probably, as will get confirmed later on, will probably be the Authors of Pain and Karrion Kross versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. So that brings us to 13 matches at WrestleMania, which we probably get one more match. Either if it's not announced on Raw, it'll probably be announced on SmackDown again. Wayne, anything you want to add in here? I didn't get to listen to your predictions podcast, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can't give you my predictions. If you want to hear my predictions, you got to go to PCW and download our latest episode of our predictions. But I will say, like, that week, even as a wrestling podcaster, like, it's going to be a stressful week, because I kind of also want to see what everybody else who's not WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, all these small locals, they're going to be stepping up their game. So, we got Monday Night Raw this week. We got NXT on Tuesday. We got AEW on Wednesday. AEW is probably going to do something to step it up because it's WrestleMania week, right?
Right.
Then you got Impact Wrestling. God knows what they're going to do on Thursday. Friday, we have SmackDown, and then we have the Hall of Fame ceremony. So we got, I don't know, to 11 o'clock, whenever these guys wrap up their speeches. Honestly, the one I'm really looking forward to, and the speech I really want to hear, Paul Heyman.
Right.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear that speech. I want to see how he feels the crowd, because this man is a heel. He is the wise man to the tribal chief of the bloodline. Right. So it's weird he's getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. At the same time, he's kind of involved in such a storyline, but it's in Philadelphia. you have to induct him in. You have to. He's a great person to headline this WrestleMania as the number one guy in Philadelphia out of all places. But so, and then we got WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, then we got the Raw, and then somewhere at some point at some time, I gotta try to fit in 2 episodes because we're going to. That's how WrestleMania is now. It's not 1 episode. It takes 2 fucking episodes, and it's a lot to cover.
It's a lot of wrestling.
And yeah, it's a lot of wrestling. It's a lot, and I understand like when you guys are going, I know Dre and Doyle are going to other wrestling events during that weekend, other signings, pictures, other indie wrestling events, whether it's micro wrestling or it's ECW, whatever. So the thing is, I would love to participate and go to all those things with you guys and be a part of it, but I'm going to be so wrestled out. Like, I'm going to be just so exhausted from just seeing so much wrestling.
When do we see Japanese wrestling?
Yeah, and we get to see New Japan following weekend.
Yeah, exactly. As New Japan too, as well. Like, it's just so much to digest and to take in. Like, I can only watch and be involved and be there in so much, and somehow do a podcast and get sleep. It's like, so I took a couple days off to do all this because it's that big of an event. This is a bucket list item for me. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've always said to myself when I was younger, it's like, one day I'm going to go to WrestleMania, one day. And then as those years would go by, I was like, okay, well, one day when it gets close to my house. There was an opportunity one year when it was in New York, New Jersey. Like, I was tempted, but I didn't have the money at the time. I was really busy. But this year I was like, I have to. And for me, the trifecta is night 1, night 2, the Raw after Mania. And it's a dream come true. It's going to happen. I'm going to get to go to all these things. And the best part of it all is the people that I'm going with. It's you guys. It's other people from the podcast. I'm going to be having personal friends there that aren't sitting with us, but I found out later, like Dwayne, a listener to the show, so he's like, hey, dude, I got WrestleMania tickets. I'm sitting far from you, but I got WrestleMania tickets. I'm like, that's great, dude. Like, he wants pictures of I bet with PCW guys.
Right.
I want pictures with all my PCW peeps. Like, I'm just excited. It's just going to be such a great event. I'm probably going to lose my voice by Monday. And then how the hell am I going to do a podcast episode, right? Like, we're going to be singing along. We're going to be cheering. We're going to be booing. We're going to be, just yelling all types of stuff. We're going to be reacting. We're going to be going through emotions.
I do have a weird comment to add.
Go for it.
Because Carlos threw this in, and I am definitely excited not only to see all of you all, also the guys from, what is it that we just did a podcast with?
4 Sides of the Ring.
4 Sides of the Ring. They're also supposed to be at WrestleMania 40, which is like very random again. It's going to be our first WrestleMania. But what's weird, okay, so Wayne, do you know who Mil Mascaras is, the wrestler? He's
I do not.
Pretty good wrestling matches with
now.
Like Sergeant.
In the Hall of Fame.
And Hulk Hogan. But he's actually one of 3, the big 3, the Holy Trinity of the Lucha Libre tradition in Mexico with El Santo and Blue Demon. So I can't wait to watch more matches with him because I've never seen any matches with him, and he's wrestled against some pretty big names. So.
Yeah, it would also make sense too why we're getting more masked wrestlers this year in WrestleMania. We're getting Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. So it's awesome.
So if there's nothing else here,
I don't have any other tidbits.
No, Wayne, you just released your recent episode. Let the people know where and how to find you.
Oh yeah, definitely. You just go right down. It'd be here. Here. Semi-Dry Chicken at Twitter or Instagram, but we have a website at Podcast Championship Wrestling at podium.com. There you can find our link to our Discord where we talk about wrestling all day, every day. 3 a.m, we're talking about wrestling, whatever. But we're also linked to our store where you can get our great merch. at Pro Wrestling Tees. Just look up Podcast Championship Wrestling. You can find us anywhere that's streaming, anywhere that was willing to take our explicit content of talking about the stuff that we do. It's, our YouTube channel right now. We're streaming live on my YouTube channel and my Twitch.
Nice.
So Podcast Championship Wrestling is everywhere. You just gotta look hard enough. So, but yeah, come check out our latest episode if you have time. We still got 8 days, and I know sometimes you get that wrestling itch, and you've seen everything on TV, but you want to just. I gotta keep talking wrestling. I gotta listen to wrestling. I want to hear other people's opinions. Well, come check us out on Podcast Championship Wrestling. If you like it, leave a review. Write in. Maybe you want to be a guest on our show, like Carlos has. I mean, it's great. So check us out.
And with that,
please remember to like, comment, and share this video if you like this content. Subscribe with fellow wrestling fans, heels, baby faces, or whomever you want to view this monumental retrospective. The audio is going to be going live Monday morning. Carlos will put that up on all platforms. He's our VIP. And you'll see us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, Spreaker, wherever you listen, it's probably there. And if it isn't, write us an email.
The email is revisitingmania@gmail.com. Please leave a review, rate, and then subscribe to our channel if you haven't done it. And the next following week, we are not going to put out anything live as far as a WrestleMania revisit. We will be live at WrestleMania that weekend with Wayne and other people and wrestling fans that we meet along the way. And maybe we'll get a hold of some people and show you what we're going to be doing at WrestleCon or at the WWE World event. If you have anything specific that you want us to cover while we're at WrestleMania, shoot us an email, put it in the comments, and we'll try to get it out to you. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later.